Dear learners, welcome to class. Today we are going to continue production function, and in that we are going to see the topic law of variable proportion or law of returns to a factor. In that we are going to see with the table and diagram explanation, and then we are going to see with the relationship between TP and MP and the relationship between MP and AP, and what are the reasons behind the law of variable proportions and reasons for the diminishing and the negative returns. Yes, now let's start with the law of variable proportion, that is the law of returns to a factor. Now let's start with the statement of law of variable proportion. Law of variable proportion states that as we increase quantity of only one input, yes, keeping other input fixed. So in this, we are going to increase only one input and we are going to keep the other input fixed. So what will happen to the TP? The total product TP initially will increases at an increasing rate, then at a decreasing rate, and finally at a negative rates. Yes, before going with this, let's see what is the law of returns to a factor. Returns to a factor which refers to which increases in the total product. Yes, so that will increase the total product, the returns, when only one factor is increased, keeping the other all factors are fixed. Yes, so what will happen when one input is it's variable and all other inputs are fixed? Yes, we are calling it as a returns to a factor. Yes, that's what the law of variable proportion states, that as we increase the quantity of only one input, keeping the other input fixed. Now, let's see with the phases, phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 1, that is the TP increases at increasing rate. Okay, what will happen to the MP? MP also will be increases. Now, in the phase 2, when TP rises, it's rising at decreasing rate. Then what will happen to the MP? MP decreases and it's positive. Now, in the phase 3, TP falls. Okay, when TP falls, what will happen to the MP? MP becomes negative. Let's see this a law of variable proportion with an example. Yes, now suppose a farmer has 1 acres of land. I think everyone knows land is a fixed one. It's a fixed factor. Yes, on which he wants to increase the production of wheat. Okay, so what is planned to do it? So for the production of wheat, he just want with the help of labor. You want to do with the help of labor. I think everyone knows labor will come under a variable factor. Okay, so when he employed more and more units of labor, what will happen? Initially, the output will increases at an increasing rate, then at decreasing rate, and finally it's negative rate. So this behavior of output, yes, we are calling it as a law of variable proportion. Yes, so that's what the phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3, the TP will rise at increasing rate. When TP rises, MP will increases. In phase 2, when TP rises at decreasing rate, what will happen to the MP? That's what I've said you. MP will decreases and it's remain positive. When in the phase 3, when TP falls, MP becomes negative. Let's discuss about the table first. In the first column, fixed factor, that is the land across, it's a fixed one. Yes. The second column, variable factor, labor. Yes. And the third column is the total product in units. And the fourth one, marginal product in units. And the fifth one talks about the phases. So when we talk about the fixed factor, it's a fixed one already, isn't it? So that's what, the land is a fixed one, I've said you already. So what we are doing it's 1:1 ratios. Yes. So the land is a fixed one. When we talk about the labor, the first labor, isn't it? How many total products they are producing in it? They are producing 10 units of TP. Okay, and marginal products of units also will be at 10. Yes, when we talk about the second column, again the land is a fixed, it's the same, and the labor have increases from one labor to the second one. So it increases. If it increases, the TP also will be increases from 10 units to 30 units. When we talk about the marginal units, isn't it? I think everyone knows TPN minus TPN minus 1. So 30 minus 10, what you will get? You will get 20. So from the first phase, that's what they have given you. From the first phase, we are calling it as a increasing returns to a factor. Yes, because the TP have increases once when the labor increases, that is a variable factor, increases from 1 to 2. Yes, the total product also will be increases from 10 to 30. Yes, and I've said you the marginal products TPN minus TPN minus 1, you will get 20. So the first one is increasing returns to a factor. Okay, now, so that's what I've said you people. One labor produce 10 units. Yes, while two labor will produce 30 units. So it implies the TP increasing at a increasing rate. Now, coming back to the next one, the diminishing returns to a factor. Again, from this, the land is a fixed one. The labor have increased from 3. Okay, how many units they are producing in it? They are producing 45 units. Again, what is a MP? Again, what you'll be doing it? 45 minus 30, you'll get 15. Okay, now again, the labor force have increased from 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. Okay, so from 4th units and 5th units, what is the total products? The total products in units, it's constant, 52 and 52. Okay, when you do MP, 52 minus 45, you will get 7. Again, 52 minus 52, you will get 0. So that's why the second phase, we are calling it as a diminishing returns to a factor. Yes, so now everyone knows why we are calling it as a diminishing returns to a factor. Yes, so in the second phase, that is every additional variable factor adds lesser and lesser amount of output. Okay, what do you mean by that? The TP will increases at a diminishing rate and MP falls with increasing in variable factor. Yes, now coming back to the last one, the phase 3. When the variable factor, the labor increases from 5 to 6, again what will happen? The TP units have start declining from 52 to 48. Okay, so then what will be the MP units? 48 minus 52, negative minus 4. So that's why from phase 3, it's a negative returns to a factor. So this table explain you the law of variable proportions. Now let's start with the diagram explanation. Yes, now listen. X-axis denotes units of variable factor and Y-axis denotes total product in units. In this, X-axis denotes units of variable factor and Y-axis denotes marginal product. Okay, I've just marked it from 1 to 6 here, from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Yes, Y-axis. Again, X-axis 1 to 6 and Y-axis 10 to 60. Now I'm just going to plot the points. Okay, now when labor is 1, 10 units of total product. Yes, now when labor is 2, I have marked 30 units of total product. When 3 labor, 45. When 4 labor, it's 52. Again for 50 units, it's 52. And for 6th, it's I've just marked as a what? 48. So this is our TP curve. Now coming back to marginal product, okay, MP curve, just looked at when the same number of one labor, what is the marginal product here? 10, isn't it? When it's 2, I have marked it 20. For 3, I have just marked it for 15. And for 4, I have just marked it for 7. Okay, and for 5, it's 0. Then after that, it's became negative. Yes, now just have a look everyone. Between 0 to Q, yes, between 0 to Q, TP increases at an increasing rate. When TP increasing at an increasing rate, what will happen to the MP? MP also will increases. Okay, so from the phase 1, it was very clear. That's what I've just mentioned here. From the phase 1, when TP, that is from 0 to Q, we are calling it as a point of inflection. Okay, that we'll see later. So from from O to Q, TP increases at an increasing rate. When TP increases, the MP also will be increases. So we are calling it as a phase 1. Now coming back to phase 2, TP increases, that is from between Q to M. Okay, so between Q to M, okay, what happened to the TP? TP will increases at an increasing, okay, it will increases at decreasing rate. Okay, so I think you can able to see this. Okay, so from Q to M, TP increases at decreasing rate. What will happen to MP? MP falls. Yes, you can able to see it seems MP falls. Okay. So between Q to M, TP increases, but it's increasing at decreasing rate, but MP starts falls. Okay. This phase will end when MP becomes 0. Okay. And TP reaches its maximum. Okay. So this phase we are calling it as a phase 2. When we come back to phase 3, okay, beyond M, that is beyond this, we are calling it as a phase 3. Okay, what happened to the TP? I think you are able to see what happened to the TP. TP starts decreases. When TP decreases, naturally what will happen? MP, yes, come on, tell me, yes, what will happen to the MP? MP not only falls, it's become negative. Yes, so that's why we are calling it as a phase 3. Okay, and in between from point Q, okay, we are calling it as a point of inflection. Why we are calling it as a point of inflection? Because it's a curvature. Okay, after the TP curve will changes its point. Yes, so that's what we are calling. That's why we are calling it as a point of inflection. So I'm repeating myself again. Phase 1 between 0 to Q. Okay, at this phase, TP increases at an increasing rate. Naturally, what will happen? MP also will be increases. Okay, in phase 2, from Q to M, TP increases, but what happened? Increases at a decreasing rate and MP falls. So this phase will end up when MP becomes 0 and TP reaches its maximum point. And so we are calling it as a phase 2, and phase 3 naturally what will happen beyond the M. Okay, TP starts decreases. When TP starts decreasing in it, what will happen to the MP? Naturally the MP also will be negative. That's false, that's it. Yes, the MP not only falls, it's become negative. Okay, the point Q, we are calling it as a point of inflection because this curvature after TP curve, it's at this point it's no changes, it's what increasing. Then after that it starts changing in it. So we are calling it as a point of inflection. Okay, so I think you understood with the table as well as with the diagram. Yes, the law of variable proportion, the differences between TP as well as MP. Let's discuss the reasons for increasing returns to a factor. There are few reasons. Yes, the first one, better utilization of the fixed factor. Second, increased efficiency of variable factor. Third, indivisibility of fixed factor. See, the first one, better utilization of the fixed factor. See, when the quantity of variable factor is increased, yes, and the unused fixed factor also start using in it. So what will happen? So this leads to increase in the marginal product. Yes, now coming back to the second one, increased efficiency of variable factor. See, when the variable factor is increased, the ratio between the factors of production may become more technically efficient. Third, indivisibility of fixed factor. See, some factors are indivisible. Yes, so when the variable factor is increased, those fixed factors can be full capacity, and this will lead to increased marginal product. So these are the reasons for increasing returns to a factor. Now the second one I mentioned, reasons for diminishing and negative returns. The first one, over utilization of fixed factor. Second, imperfect substitutes. Third one, decrease in efficiency of variable factor. So the first one, reasons for increasing returns to a factor, is a phase 1, isn't it? This I mentioned about phase 2 as well as phase 3. So the first one, over utilization of fixed factor. When the firm has completely used all the fixed factor, what will happen? What will happen? That further will increase in the variable factor, will lead to a fall in MP. So the MP, the marginal product, will fall. The second one, imperfect substitutes. Okay. See, for example, the variable factor cannot be substitute for the fixed factor. See, for example, labor cannot be used as a substitute for a land, isn't it? So that's why an increase in the variable factor keeps the fixed factor constant, may leads to a fall in marginal product. Yes. Next, at the last, decrease in efficiency of variable factor. When the firms keeps on increasing the variable factor, the ratio between factors of production may become technically inefficient. So these are the reasons for diminishing and negative returns. Let us quickly recall what we studied in the session. We have started with the law of variable proportion and we have started with the statements, isn't it? Phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. And we have discussed with the table as well as with the diagram. And then we have discussed the reasons behind the law of variable proportions, and at the last, reasons for diminishing and the negative returns. Thank you.